Joe Shepard is a Boeing engineer, retired Boeing engineer, that he created a artificial intelligence on the topic of power generation exclusively. And with that, he asked it, what's the best way to make power? You know, clean slate, just take it from the bottom. And this is the basic concept that it came up with. This is, you see 36 slots. You don't have T slots like you see in your average generator, so it reduces the cogging. But more significant than that is that, let me see here. I might be able to find something that would be useful for you. Okay, here you go. This is a small rotor that goes into one of this size. But you can see in this rotor, you got 16 magnets. So compare that to other rotors of your standard power generation, be it 2, 4, 8, whatever poles. You've got a lot of transitions going on there. And the way that it interacts with the stator. See, this is the stator that I've evolved since we licensed from Joe years ago, and did some modifications and came up with some better efficiencies. This is more for, you know, manufacturing ease, you know, and also for thermal control. Anyway, I just try to keep it so that it's comprehensible for everybody, you know. Try to talk on a 5th grade level. I know it doesn't apply to you, you know, or this fellow here.
Probably does, but.
Anyway, so by virtue of the mathematics of it, by virtue of the architecture of it, it reduces the cogging, so you don't have that basic magnetic cogging effect that gives you torque load without even pulling a load electrically. Okay, so that's the basic magic of it. And if you see here, you take a look at these graphs. This was the original Joe design, which, you know, years ago when he came up with it, the DoD claimed this is the most efficient DC generator you can produce. And these are a couple of examples of some graphs at different ohm loads, different resistance loads. And you can see, for example, this is showing about just over 86% efficient at around 1,000 RPMs, 9 ohm load, okay? Here's another different load. So more or less the same range. It's a little better efficiency, but you still see this general efficiency curve that you're familiar with. This is what I did. So you see here, at about 500 RPMs, we're already 96% efficient, and it's flat line across there. So it's more like a diesel torque curve than a horsepower curve. And over here you see 500 RPMs with a lighter load. It has a little more curve to it, but the key thing is this applies really well to wind or water applications where you have a varied rotational speed available. So you're optimizing your output, you're optimizing your exchange for whatever you're putting into it from the wind or water or what have you, whatever you're using. You know, you can hook it up to any kind of an engine and get some good conversion. So that's the basics of that. And if you like, we can go outside and take a look at some other things. Oh, wait. Here's a live model. So this is a beta unit here, and this is built in a 9-phase architecture. So this is just a little test bench where we do free running. Right now that's just set at about 800 RPMs. So this little stepper motor is just, you hear it fluctuating because it's trying to maintain 800 RPMs, but at 800 RPMs, you got 220 volts available. Unloaded, of course, but that's about 1/3 of its rated speed. You know, your average generator will tend to run at 1800 or 3600 RPM. So with that, again, we can optimize the voltage and amperage for whatever the application is. So if you want a lot of amps for a low voltage system with a lot of batteries that are in parallel, we can tailor make it for that. Or we can go for 1,000 volts if you like that too.
Can I ask, is it purely a generator, or does it generate more output than input?
No, we're not making any.
It's just a generator,
Any
but
excess
producing a very
output.
smooth output,
Right.
and it kicks into high efficiency at low revs.
Exactly, over the range entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't have 105% as some others have claimed, based on their either faulty
Poor calculations, poor measurement.
metering equipment, or just their interpretations of the mathematics of the thing. But here you can see also, and I'll share some FAQs with you. Here we go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Randall, you might find it somewhat interesting. But if you look at this, people go, well, why 9 phases? Well,
Smoother output.
here's 3 phases.
Yeah, it's choppy.
You see all those drops there.
Yeah.
You know, of course, it's all converted to DC anyway, but here's 9 phases. So you get a fat output, to keep it in simple terms. And also, one of the key things that I found was, this was the scope on Joe's original design. That's why I modified the rotor. And I came up with a much more pure sine wave, much cleaner, more efficient, as you can see, dramatically. So let's take a look outside here. I'll try to keep it as efficient as possible, guys.
Yeah, sure. Oh, not bird choppers. I prefer these type of wind turbines over bird choppers.
Well, we tested that for a customer. You can see this is a battery energy storage systems that are utilizing wind and solar. It's a customer out of South Florida that's got some potential contracts with FEMA, with the UN, et cetera, and you know, they brought some of these parts, and those Chinese turbines are, as he would say, shite.
Shite, yes.
mostly shite.
But they don't chop bird.
At least they've got that. But this is a turbine that I designed that is for use in third world nations where they can utilize locally sourced materials.
And old oil drums.
Exactly, locally sourced materials for making the basic components of it. Yeah. But interestingly enough, that's an 18-phase turbine.
Right.
So one of the things that Malcolm came here for a couple of days.
A day.
He stayed for 3 months.
So this phase ran out.
Right. No, well, he made a couple other runs there, but I had done some testing with this device and found that at 52 degrees I get my optimum output, and he says, well, that's 51.84 you should have had. I'm like, well, dude,
Interesting.
I'm roughing it in. But apparently I found the optimum angle of attack on that. And this is just a portion of the final format, which is I've had some other table test versions that I got another 40% out of it.
Wow.
You know, relative to what it was producing. It's not like these other guys are saying, well, we get 700%.
Yeah, right.
All right, great.
Okay.
Lovely.
Next.
But here you see Malcolm's stuff. And as I was telling Kieran, I'll let you guys do what you need to do with it so that you're caught up and on top of it for whatever demos you got to do, but I'll just back you up for whatever I can. Okay, so
Fantastic.
all the stuff is here. We tried to get it a little bit more cleaned up after the whirlwind passed. And
I recognize this one.
yeah.
Yeah, this is our Cosmic Summit demo model.
So those are the two that need to get in the vans?
Yes, sir. Well, this one obviously is going to be a little taller. That one's pretty
That's good. We got
pretty straightforward.
a bigger van and a smaller van.
Yeah, that can go into Susan's van there. And yeah, this has got about a 5-foot footprint.
Yep.
Elevation.
Hopefully we can fit that.
We got it one way, but you know.
Yep, and the test gear is all sitting there ready. Here's some other aspect to the whole game, and this is the big win. What you have here are sodium batteries. Now you've all been seeing all of the carnage from lithium I'm sure you've seen plenty of videos of cars exploding in the parking lots and massive shipping vessels going down because of lithium. You know, not to mention all the other detractions, but this sodium ion package here is from a company out of New Zealand, and they figured it all out, and they've got energy density, they've got everything up on it, because one of the things that a lot of folks don't realize is that with lithium, a good, I don't know, 15% of the energy that you have available in the battery is used to keep the battery cool with their refrigeration systems or cooling systems, HVAC, you know, and plus of your usable power, quote unquote, you know, the 100% of usable power, you're only going to get 60% of that out of it because you can't go below 35, 40%. These you can drop to nothing. No harm, no foul. They don't care about the temperature. It can be freezing, it can be hot as hell, and no worries. So we're really happy to be working with these, because the other key thing that I needed, for example, here you see a bunch of lead acid batteries from the dark ages back there.
Yes.
You know, with lead acid, you lose a majority of your power on your round trip efficiency. But these were some Kilowatt Labs units, and they are claimed to be supercaps. I think they're mostly lithium as well. These here are a little bit better. These are from Supercap Energy. Again, I think they've got a good portion of lithium in there, so you know they can claim it's graphene because they've got some in there.
Right.
You know, but
Or maybe they're just using them for electrodes.
who's to say exactly what the architecture is? It's proprietary.
Yeah.
You know. So, but the key thing is, here you see this is a parallel system that you've got 48 volts. That's a 240 split phase inverter, so it doesn't care. It can take that 48 volts or 50 volts, right? But if you want three-phase power, like in this inverter over here, you need some voltage. So with this system here, we got about 450, 500 volt system. So it can just chop that into three-phase for you.
Do you mind me asking how much is one of these batteries?
I don't deal with the finances. They keep that off my plate so that I don't pull my hair out too much.
You lucky bastard.
But you know, your average, I think, is somewhere, you know, for batteries like this, is $3 to $4 grand a piece. You know, but eventually they do pay for themselves. You know.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you all have seen any of Stephen Greer's Lost Century film.
I haven't, but I've heard that he showed your least exciting invention, which is still very exciting.
Well, he just showed me driving around on this water scooter here.
Just a water scooter.
You know, we had
Simple
hours
water scooter.
hours of sophisticated and highly erudite conversations in the boardroom there.
Yeah.
None of that made it to the editing table.
Yeah.
It's just Ed goofing around on the scooter. That's what got their attention.
Pretty cool. So this is 95% run on water.
Well,
Percent on fuel, or is this?
I'll make no claims.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll make no claims there. This is the Walter Jenkins technology, and Walter, I'd helped him for years. Never asked him for a penny. I just backed him up, and you know, he got to claim this NASA scientist was evaluating his stuff, so he thought that was pretty keen. But when it came time when he had a bad accident, ended up in the hospital, and knew it was done.
Yeah.
So he turned it over to me. So we're trying to push it forward, but the key thing is, when Malcolm showed up with his technology, I looked at his technology and how it's done.
It's quite similar in some respects.
The parallels are stunning,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
which
yeah.
you'll find that throughout nature with any kind of a biomimicry type of a technology.
Yeah.
It's based on nature and its behavior. So different people see nature doing different things, but it comes down to the same.
Interpretation.
It comes down to the same, you know, manifestation or phenomena.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're sharp, you see the phenomena. If you can figure out how it's doing what it's doing, you can translate that into something useful. So we're just trying to back up Walter's original investors, you know, which were the three Fs, the friends, families, and fools, and so forth. So we're just trying to help them out and get an exchange, and that way Malcolm benefits from this, they benefit from it. We'll see, you know, it's...
Yeah, because he's got like about 10 more years to run on the patent, right?
Right.
So and often patents never get value out of that initial 20 years.
Right.
So it's work hard and deliver now, right? And,
Craggy.
yeah.
Absolutely. But this is also Walt's setup here. He had little fans on the front that he was harvesting a little bit of energy from. He had a solar panel on there, and and again, the parallels. I mean, I had a little Volkswagen engine back in 1991 running on just my first simple electrolyzer that I made out of a battery. I just cleaned out a battery and reversed everything on it and made an electrolyzer and had a vapor carburetor. But we've all studied Jules Verne to some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, not sure if you all remember a fellow named Denny Klein.
Sorry, can I ask on the water power car, is it meant to be doing more miles than it should, or is it just running on water and self-regenerating, or what? What is the claim?
Yeah, not going to go there right now.
Okay. Okay.
Not going to go there right now, because really, the truth be told, Walter, at the point of, at the end, for so many years he had been so restrained and kept everything close to the vest that when he wanted to actually interchange and exchange the concepts, he had a hard time with it. So
right.
I recorded some videos, but it really takes a team. So hopefully I can generate a group activity here that will provide us with the necessities to evolve it to where it could be or where it should be.
Right.
But the key thing that he found was a means to extract energy with a minimum of input, because I mean, I've been making electrolyzers since the early 90s, and I had 2 different hydrogen companies. Mm-hmm. And everybody says, when they first saw that Volkswagen that I had running on water, mm-hmm. they're like, wow, it's going to be this, this is fantastic, And they all ended with the same wow, which is, wow, you're a dead man. You can't do this, it's going to be unauthorized. So that's why I backed off, and when I went to work for NASA, I started creating my own boosters, but just boosters.
Yeah.
Because 20 or 30%, you're okay. You're under the radar. You're not doing anything that's stepping on too many people's feet. So,
I mean, is it part like RF, like Kansas frequency, or are you using like the lasers, or what is it?
No.
Sound.
You can look at Walter's patents if you like. And see,
oh no, I've read the whole
can...
patent in detail. Yes.
Right.
So he's using ultrasound, so there's sound in there. He's also using ionizing UV. Yeah. He's using misters.
Mostly pond fog.
Yeah, pond foggers. Yes,
pond fog.
Yeah.
And it's not as complicated as you might think.
Yeah, I mean that's essentially. What's the guy who had the weights on the side and it blew up when he did a spark discharge into pond fog?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah. So there was a guy at Stanford who replicated the experiments. Who am I thinking of? Oh, my God. Can't remember. But they were recording a lot more out. And I met the experiments were done in Canada and Toronto to try and verify it. But yeah, it's the pond fog explosions type thing.
Right. It's of all of the different, I mean, you've got so many different forms of hydrogen. You got monatomic, diatomic, of different forms, deuterium, tritium, etc. And certain things that you're not supposed to touch, you're not supposed to fiddle with that stuff. But
well, it's interesting you say that, because I went and visited in 2019 Dr. Roy Shinamaza in Japan.
Cool. Wow.
And he said, I said, look, there's people that want to buy it. There was a group who later revealed themselves as military, because they said they were going to kill, they were discussing whether to kill me, but they decided not because they were using the research.
It's a good day for you.
Yeah, so that was okay. So I'm okay as long as I keep talking.
Right.
But they were ready to take a private jet to the local airport and pay whatever he wanted to take a unit away. And he says, I'm not going to sell it to any Americans. And then he told me the reason why. He says, because there's a secret hidden group globally that don't want anyone to know about the properties of atomic hydrogen.
Right.
And this is from a guy who's spent a good proportion of his life, had certificates from the emperor, lots and lots of patents. He knew everyone and anyone. And he said that they really are serious. So I can understand where you're coming from with your commentary.
I can tell you that unequivocally, after 3 decades of playing in this field and producing products and items that work, I've found the simplest form of conversion. absurd. No cost, basically. No cost. And yeah, I've stored the data. Yeah, I've got a dead man switch. It's all set up, but it's still ahead of its time. But I'm really looking forward to the day that can be produced, because it's brutally simplistic. And again, you see these nature parallels in what Bendel's doing here, you know. So anyway, let's take a look at Denny Klein. Denny Klein was the guy that was on Fox News for years, and was all part of the HHO revolution. And his company created these welders, you know.
So it's
You all
like
saw
a
the
Brown's gas.
Yule Brown.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to name it after themselves. You know, Brown's gas, Klein's gas. But the Germans back in WW2 were using it as Null gas.
Null gas, yeah.
Right. But Denny, he got famous on that, and then he kind of disappeared off the scene, so everybody's like, oh, he must have been sucked up by the DOD or something like that. But turns out he just had prostate cancer. So he was off the scene for a while. He showed up again and found me at an expo and said, I like the products that you're producing. I'll want to white label it. So sent his CEO around, blah, blah, blah. Few weeks, few months of back and forth. The day he was supposed to come and sign the white label agreement, I get a call. It's his phone number. It's his son, though, and he's not in town. He's in town because Dad's dead. Apparently, he fell down 2 steps and bashed his head open. Apparently. Anyway, so the thing about Denny was he was kind of, you remember that old song, Papa Was a Rolling Stone?
Yeah.
The only thing he left us was alone. He didn't leave him anything, so.
Wherever he left his hat, it was his home or something.
Yeah, so I gave Greg a little bit of money for this. This is Denny's personally, and I figure someday it might be part of a museum or something.
We actually have on loan a Yule Brown BN 2000. It's up in Minnesota at the moment.
Wow.
It's
That's
part
a historical piece.
Yeah, so we're partly deconstructing. We have a 1-year window, but we lost 3 years because of COVID, and we had it for 5 years. But I've just spoken to the owner a couple of weeks ago, and he's going to give us another year.
What's the end goal there? Just to
The end goal is
replicate it?
we're going to redo the electronics completely. So we've got the guys in IEEE, brilliant engineer. So he's remastering the electronics with modern electronics. But there was a problem with that unit. It used very high, inefficient transformer.
Right.
And so maybe you could have a view on the type of transformer that would be suitable to replace the kind of transformers they had in there.
We manufacture modulators here for.
Okay, well, great. So you're the right guy to talk to. So, and the idea was to kind of like open that technology up. But having seen that, once we get it working, we want to see if we can do the same element synthesis that we've done with Royston at Mars's testing, where we're synthesizing different elements and the potential for the radiation remediation and stuff. Because we proposed to Fukushima and they changed the rules because they said, actually, we don't want to get rid of the tritium, we just want to concentrate it or dump it at sea. Yeah. So once we provided them with a solution, they didn't want to know.
That was a real friendly thing they did there.
Yeah, right.
Fucking brilliant.
Just like a quick little story. All those years that Yule Brown was running around the world promoting, there was a guy called Spiros back in Sydney in the workshop building all of those. And I worked with Spiros for about 15 years. Unfortunately, he passed away about 2 years ago. We had all sorts of plans for HHO.
It's amazing the amount of lost technology due to non-application and the passing of the passing of the person that has the tribal knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, so again, you know, I'd like to reach out to the community if anybody's interested in helping out with the Walter Tech evolution as it crosses over here now with the Bendel Tech. That'd be really good.
Has it been running, that car? Has it been running?
We just hauled it out of storage.
So I'm supporting the setting up of a distributed autonomous organization, which is being funded by crypto.
Cool.
And the idea is that everything's published into the blockchain. So whoever dies, it doesn't really matter other than it's very sad and sad for their family.
Sure.
But the information of any experiments is actually locked into the blockchain. And we're actually hosting the site and all of the communication, and it will automatically publish papers into its own journal on the blockchain. for people to learn any particular technology. So it depends which way you want to go. And the idea is that we have a whole series of technologies that we want to create minimum viable products for.
Good.
And they're all open, so that then it's in the public domain. People can download the parametric files, create their own versions from a contract manufacturer, that no one needs to have any skill to do the minimum viable product. But from there, it's off to the races for anyone like yourself to develop better versions with their own intellect and to build on that. So if you're interested, I can fill you in. It's in the process of being set up.
The key concept there is having somebody that's kind of a quality control kind of guy that can maintain the purity, because when you have a lot of in-feed of perspectives, a lot of it ends up being just distraction.
I agree. So I'd encourage you, I think we've got our next open meeting. I can give you the link. It's on next week on the, I think the 3rd or 4th or something. It's like on the 5th, I think, maybe.
Cool.
And it's an open Zoom call. You can be on that Zoom call. And maybe there's some technologies that you think would be the right way to get them out there.
Awesome.
And then there's a lot of people then that can pitch in and do tests and stuff. So
that's key, because the whole thing is duplication.
Yeah.
As we all know.
Yeah.
A lot of these technologies have future, have application, have usefulness, but the ability of the inventor to translate that into something that is replicatable on any hand, which is really great. I mean, Malcolm's now.
That's what I like about Malcolm's.
Cardic already has that operating there in India and so forth. And I've been through it with these. And once you see that transition point inside, between the two spheres, once you see that, call it what you want, the 0 point, call it, event horizon, call it buttermilk. I don't care what you want to call it, but you see that thing change. And you see the power that's being generated there because of the crashing of these magnetic fields. And that, you can't unsee that shit. Yeah. So here's a couple of other technologies that have evolved as well that have been tested by, those ISO 9001 master black belt dudes and stuff. And they're like, well, this beats everything going, so you can't produce it, But yeah, we've for years I've been making these booster systems, and we've got some on these 3,000 horsepower trucks down in the mines in South America. And I was working with a variety of different engineers, electronics engineers, looking for the optimum modulators, and I found them. And when he wanted to sell out, I bought him out. So we're now producing those modulators, and that's what we have here is, a variety of. Here's the boards. We do the assembly here. We test them. These are good for 100 amps, for your booster systems. But
this is if you get stuck in a hole, you can get out of it. It's not for permanent use in the engine, right? Or
right. No, well, it's just for efficiency and emissions benefits.
Right.
Primarily, you get a lot of emissions benefits. And down in South America, they've got a lot of issues with carbon. Loads of carbon. And yeah, there's some stuff I wish I could show you, but
yeah.
Anyway, better days are coming. Everybody's trying to evolve these little guys here. And for a demonstrator, what Malcolm's got created here is real good just to demonstrate, but really, I mean, the low-hanging fruit really is those old generators, old diesel generators that are a megawatt or better.
Yeah.
Because why waste your time putting a bunch of units on these little household devices that are not going to be used much when you can have something that's continuous run? And that's what's going on in England now, right?
Yeah.
So it's wonderful. Wonderful. Anyway, that's the basics. I'm sure we could delve more, but I know you guys have more important things to talk about. Yeah. Oh, little extra piece there regarding the crossover of Walt Jenkins and Malcolm. I don't know if you've ever seen this video of Walt Jenkins where he's talking about his inspiration to evolve the technology. And the basic of it was the island, Anna Maria Island down here south by Sarasota. Watching the storms roll in and watching the thunderstorms roll in. He got the concept, Of
course.
And, years ago, I started tracking with these guys, the suspicious observers a
Yeah.
group of scientists, brilliant guys.
Yeah.
Ben Davidson, yeah, brilliant guys. You know, they're really seeking truth and understanding. And with that, I came to realize that everything that you see as weather, you know, a front, a tornado, a hurricane, they're all magnetic phenomena,
Okay.
right? So if you look, you know, and you compare that to what Walter was talking about regarding, you know, these bolts of lightning coming through the clouds, you know, and if you break it down, you know, you could take iron and you could put a torch on it and nothing happens, but if you file it down to minute particles, it'll actually burn. You know, so it's really a matter of the size of the material, and because a cloud is such a fine mist, it dissociates insanely quick. You know, when you have that crack of lightning, when you have just a discharge of potential.
In the late,
Look at all the free energy there. I mean, if
Yeah.
you look at what's going on down in Venezuela, that place where it's like 300 days out of the year.
it's
massive
around the
lightning
lake
storm.
where they get all the oil from, and actually they have these fantastic metal deposits all around there. I studied places in the world that had the most ball lightning, and that's one of them, and almost the most lightning strikes on Earth.
Can you imagine if you
Yeah.
took created some kind of a supercapacitor there to,
Yeah,
to harness
amazing.
that and route it? You know, talk about free energy.
Yeah, there's
But the key thing with Walt Jenkins there was he saw that, he observed what was going on there, and from that he evolved his technology and the simplicity of using milliamps to create horsepower. You know, as opposed to using 40 or 50 amps for a 20% gain benefit on a booster system to burn your original nasty fossil fuel.